right, everyone, I am sitting in LA and I'm like having a moment. I'm not going to say a fangirl moment, but it's a little bit of like, I can't believe how life comes full circle because who I'm sitting with right now, I used to watch on television when I was pregnant with my first child and like sat during maternity leave, bored out of my mind. Like, sorry, Maya, you were just such a simple child. And binge watch the show. So please welcome Whitney Port.
Hi.
That is like such a funny thing. Yesterday I was like texting my daughter and she was like, well, what are you doing in LA? And I was like, well, I'm actually going to go podcast with somebody that I used to watch when I was like at home with you.
Oh my God.
It's like, that was like 13 years ago.
Yeah, oh my God. You have a 13-year-old?
I do.
Oh my God. You look like you're 25.
Honestly, I had them all very young. I had all three by the time I was 25.
No.
Yeah, so I've got three now. And so I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, which is why I loved reality TV. It filled my days.
I don't blame you.
Social media really wasn't a thing yet.
Of course.
Thank God.
Yes.
I think a little bit too. And so then when that kind of all came about and eventually, ended up going into the workforce 10 years later and all of this now. So
oh my gosh.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Yeah. So you came into podcast space this year as well. You have Whit.
Yes.
So
I just launched it in the spring. I love it. Honestly, I've never learned so much. I feel like for the first time, I'm really living outside of my bubble. You know, living in Los Angeles, you can really feel isolated from the rest of the world. It just has like this lens of, I don't know, like everything is great and bubbly and glamorous. And so you forget like everything else that's going on. And for me, I've lived here my whole life. So it's really easy for me to put my blinders on. And now like having my podcast, talking to people that are so inspiring and know so much more than me is just opening up my world. Yes. And I feel like making me a better person. I'm sure you feel the same way.
I think what I love is it forces me to put down my phone and have a human conversation.
Totally.
I've yet to record one on the phone. Like I do it totally in person. And
yeah,
there's something about that. It's like this human connection thing. And the fact that like you just said, there's so many stories out there and I won't experience those. Like I might not experience the same things like I had on somebody who's been through human trafficking. And, you know, when you hear these stories and experiences, it does change you.
Yes.
And I was like, without this conversation or without the podcast that pushed me into having that conversation, my life wouldn't be what it is now. So I kind of love that it's causing me some emotional maturity and this like evolution of thought and care. And what I always love kind of saying to people too is like when you listen to episodes and you hear these stories, you might never experience these things. You might never go through this stuff. You might never, especially when you're like, let's say for instance, you're talking to a woman of color. I might not know, I will never know what it's like to experience what you've experienced, but now you get to share with me and I get to learn and it teaches me to be a better support person.
100%. It so just makes you a better person. So yeah, I'm so grateful for it.
I just find you so fascinating, I think, because truly, because you've done so much. Like when I think like in the 13 years since I've first seen you on reality TV, you've done a lot in your career and a lot has happened. But I feel like this last year has been the first time that we've really gotten to know you in like a really true, gritty sense.
Yes.
And it's so refreshing. But
Thank you.
I want to hear like, how has that been for you? Because I was even like reading up before I was coming. I was like, I really want to talk to you about like some key things. But it reminded me of like the fact that even at the beginning when you were on the hills and you were asked to be, you know, living a roommate with Lauren, you turned that down because you're like, I just want some things private. Like I want my private life. And now you're living on social media and you're sharing things like a miscarriage and you're putting that out in the world. I mean, of course you've evolved as a person over the years, but I wonder how that experience has been from being such a public persona and now being somebody who's vulnerable about the real shit in between.
Yeah. Well, it took me a while to get here. And when I was doing the TV show, social media wasn't a thing and reality TV was just beginning. So I really didn't know what the consequences would be of sharing my life. I was 21 when we started doing the show. I was dating someone who really didn't want to be on the show. I was a college student and I just really wanted my privacy, you know?
Fair.
So I did the show.
Weird, though, like just to pause, like that's I want privacy and I'm gonna be on a reality show.
Yeah, no, totally. It does not make any sense.
Totally.
But for me, I was able to work at Teen Vogue and be an intern alongside Lauren, but not necessarily have my social life bombarded.
Yes.
Like, they just didn't really push me for it, honestly.
Yeah.
They had Lauren, they had Heidi, they had Audrina. They were showing them, you know, going out and dating and everything personal. And for me, they really just like kept me in the box of work, and I was 100% okay with that. And then when The Hills ended and they came to me and they were like, do you want to move to New York and do the city and have it centered around your life? I was like, do I really? I don't know. Like, that's a lot of pressure. I've never done this before. And I made a list of pros and cons, and I finally realized that like it was going to be a really good opportunity for me because I wanted to be in fashion.
Yes.
And I knew that that would be the easiest way for me to have the most exposure. So I did it, but it was still very, very challenging just because I'm also not like the most dramatic person. Like, they would want me to care about things that I didn't really care that much about. And so the city only lasted like 2 seasons just because I don't draw in a lot of drama. And obviously reality shows like really rely on that.
I guess I was watching TV last night. There was like nothing on. So I was watching Real Housewives, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wonder if they like poke and prod them to be dramatic. And then I was thinking about you because I mean, now there's like the Hills reboot. And,
yes.
you know, you're back kind of into it.
Yeah.
But you've remained undramatic, and yet there's something so peaceful about that. So I don't really find, like, I realize around like reality TV that they do kind of want these like splashy things.
Yeah.
But I feel like I almost consider you as a character on a show, but like you were like the calm supporter in the entire, like if there was like scripted characters in it, you were so vital to that because there was so much drama going on. But did you ever like, was that so easy for you to be like, I'm not a dramatic person and that's okay? Or was there times that you were like, it really kind of, did you hold back your drama? Like you don't have life free of drama, but how did you kind of like navigate those feelings and kind of like what you would put forth and what you wouldn't?
Yeah. So when I was on The City, it was just like everything was out there.
Yes.
You know, I decided to do the show. I had a relationship on camera. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put it all out there. The scary part when you're doing reality TV is that you don't have control over the edit. And that's why I feel like I'm able to be so much more open on my social media about the real things that are going on in my life, is because I can really tell the truth. When you're on reality TV, you don't know 100% what's the truth because the editors have complete control. Like, I could give you a nasty look right now that would be like a fake, like I would be faking, or something that would be alluding to like something gross you just told me, but instead they would use it as a reaction to something that you said to make me look like a bitch. And that's why it's scary. That's why it's scary to do reality TV, you know? And that's why, like, in answer to your first question, why I feel so much more okay with being open now is just because, like, I have control over it.
You're the author of it.
Like no one it's not going through any other funnels. No one else is putting their voice on it or making me seem something that I'm not. So when they came back and they were like, do you want to do this Hills New Beginnings? I was really like scared because I knew again that was going to be releasing up some control, especially because there was a new production company and I was a little bit scared about that. But I decided, you know what, just be you and go with it. And turns out that the last season, like, there was enough drama with everybody else that they didn't necessarily like need mine. I mean, I did talk about my miscarriage, which they would never disrespect and like edit weird. But yeah, it's weird for me. Even I can't sometimes make sense of how someone like me does reality TV. Like I even was thinking about last night, I was like, is this really something that I want to be doing, you know, like spending my time doing? But at the same time, it's really fun, and it's a way to get your message across just on another platform. So,
I so agree. And, you know, how has it been going back into it? I mean, there was a huge pause there. Like, what was the gap between Hills 1 and Hills 2?
It was like 10 years, I think.
Almost, right?
Yeah.
How has it been going back into it? Did it feel a little bit like, were you anxious about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first day I went back to film the last season, I went back, I saw everyone for the first time, and I like took a pause and called my husband and started crying hysterically and was just like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Not because anybody was mean to me,
No.
but like it just felt uncomfortable. Like I hadn't seen a lot of these people
Honestly,
in a really
the first
long time.
couple episodes were uncomfortable. And I think that was almost important to show, like, it did feel a little contrived.
Yeah.
And I think everyone kind of understood that.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway was that, like, after watching All the Hills before, I was like, hold on, like, Spencer was like the bad guy. Like, he was, and he was like, we kind of all thought he was a little nutty because he always talked about these friggin' crystals. And I was like, can we all just like pause and take a second? That night, he's still with Heidi. They have a family together.
I know.
He's now like the peacekeeper in this group.
Yeah,
and he's like selling crystals because they're the coolest thing on the planet right now. But everyone believes that they're giving us our healing powers. Even I'm like, oh, my little amethyst, I might be anxious. Just like lay it on my chest. Like I do it half jokingly. But
I mean, we all have a transformation,
but
and he's
so
definitely
wild.
had such a transformation. And like he on the show is definitely like a voice of reason and trying to keep the peace with everyone. We've had like some things here and there. Luckily, we're all okay now. But yeah, it is so interesting how the evolution of people,
but
and
it shows you not to like judge too much either. Like,
because we were so young. I mean, we were so young, and we were making such crazy decisions. You know, like everybody in the early 20s, we were doing crazy things, and so it just so happened that their crazy phases were on a reality TV show, and now they're in their early 30s and making more wise decisions.
I know. I think about it now. Like, I have this daughter who's 13, and she's on social media now, and I'm like, your life is going to be so different because, like, if you do something, it shows up on social media. When you go on through a breakup, it's on social media. Like, it's exposed in a different way. So as much as we saw you guys go through that, we're kind of all in a reality show now. We're all living and existing in this world where it's like, holy crap, this is like, you can be exposed for things at any moment, and it makes you anxious, and at the same time it causes like that reflection of like, oh, what are my choices here, and what are my decisions, and like, if I'm going to be the author and the narrator of my life, like, what do I want that to look like? And so it can be, I think even like this week I've had like a little bit of an issue where somebody just like took me as somebody being ingenuine. Basically, I got hair extensions and people thought it was like wrong.
What? Are you crazy?
It's fine. But like,
I have honestly, I've never had hair extensions. I've only put them on for photo shoots, but like, I want them so badly. Wait,
don't know.
People are judging you for getting hair extensions?
Because I work so much in the body confidence space. They were like, how do you separate beauty in like the external materialistic sense into like how you feel about your body? And because I have like I wouldn't even say a classical postpartum body, but I definitely have a postpartum body. So I've really spoken into like that community a lot over the years. And I think it's like it can be so misconstrued so quickly.
Yeah, but you can have extensions and feel proud of your body at the same time.
Yes.
Like, it's the same thing as putting on makeup. Like, your followers know you put on makeup, right?
Yeah, but that became the secondary conversation.
That's ridiculous. I mean, sometimes you can never win with people, and they think that everything is so extreme that if you feel proud of your body, then that means that you just let everything go natural. It's like, no, you can feel proud of your body, but also want to do certain things to make you feel good.
And I think that it's so dishonoring to yourself if you're not doing what you know makes you feel good. Like, totally. I can't explain why I love putting makeup on in the morning. I don't feel like it's my worth that I'm applying. I don't feel like it's my worth leaving me when I take it off at night. I love both processes, but I'm like, there's something about that intentionality of like spending time with my face and doing my hair. Like, it is such a, because
it's like a meditative process for you, and that's fine.
And going back to like way before, so like to give you a bit of context, I used to be 225 pounds and I had my 3 kids and I didn't give a crap about myself. So part of me is like, I do enjoy these little things, and it would be so dishonoring to my own self-love process to not do these things, but it still makes it difficult when negative comments come in. I think that's always hard. How have you dealt with that over the years?
You know,
I don't even know if, like, I feel like it'd be like yelling at a butterfly to say something bad about you. That'd be so mean.
No, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, it definitely comes in. My husband gets really defensive, and he wants to write back to people, and I've had to like put the kibosh on that because it doesn't serve me well, doesn't serve him well. It's just it's a bad for everybody. You don't want to give them attention. Honestly, I just always say to myself, like, they don't really know me.
Yeah.
They don't know what's actually going on behind closed doors. Like, they don't know every single reason why I do something, and they don't have to know. And that if they want to have that opinion, it feels like they're almost projecting their own insecurity onto me, and I'm not going to take it too seriously. Like, I really just try to let it go in one ear and out the other, and I think that you should too.
I usually do. I have this whole process of like bless them and block them.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are sneaky and it comes in like really nice. Like they start by nice and then it slowly gets worse and worse. And you're like, what just happened? I got like catfished into a troll.
Yeah,
like, it's so bizarre.
I got one once that wasn't even about me. It was about Sunny, and that's when I got really protective. It was this one woman who said she was a nurse, but it did not seem like a very nursely thing to do. She was like, I'm noticing Sunny doesn't make eye contact and he's not really formulating words. Mind you, this was like when he was maybe 9 months old or something, okay? She's like, I think you should go get him checked for this thing and this thing. Like, he seems like he's not doing well or something. And I was like, this is... You're making this assumption about my son off of social media. Like,
I would not be okay with that.
Yeah, it was really harsh, and she was like, you should pay more attention to this thing. And I'm like, that is when I wrote back. I wrote her something long back and was like, it is really dangerous for you to make assumptions like
100%.
that, because one, he does all of those things. And two, like, this can really affect my confidence and security as a mother. And you literally, you'd have to be a professional observing Sunny every day to, like, prescribe him this, you know? So it's just...
I think that's such a hard curve, especially like in being a parent and on social media is like I have the honor of like my kids are older, so like they get to tell me what they want to do and what they don't want to do. Yeah. But I have I have 2 daughters and a son, and my 2 daughters are very different in their body types, very different. And it's so interesting because like societally, the older one, she's very thin, but she has the worst diet I've ever seen. Yeah. Like she literally eats ketchup on a bun, and I'm like, that's not food. Yeah. And I've like sat her down in the doctor's office and been like, can you tell her to eat vegetables? And they're like, well, she looks great, like everything's fine. And then my second born, like she is like much more built. She definitely has like a gymnast type body. She's a bit shorter. She's a bit rounder, like whatever. I don't care. Yeah. These are 2 children that are being raised in the same home with the same amount of standards. We don't have scales in our home. Like we're very positive about like how we talk about our bodies and stuff. And I had a post with my daughter, and it was kind of followed by this poem of like love your bodies because you're teaching your daughters, like teach them to love, like all these things, like these are like the marks of life, and like these are the things that we should so honor, right? So I had this photo went up and it went viral on Facebook, unfortunately on Facebook. And it was like not the best day. Yeah. But eventually I had to take it down because, again, it came in all of these people in concern saying, like, your daughter's going to have diabetes and your daughter's going to have this. Oh, my God. They were assuming her diet. They were assuming her lifestyle. And I was so, like, I'm like, if there's ever been a moment where I can see the cracks in society, it's this. Yes. Because here I am as a mother who's feeding and raising these children completely the same. The oldest one is not active. She does not eat well. And the second one eats a very good diet, and she's very active. Their bodies have responded differently. Yet because the older one is thin. And they're just born differently. They're totally different. And because the older one is thin, nobody will say anything, not even her doctor. Where my second one was even like, she was tested for diabetes because of her body shape. Right. And I'm like, this is wild that even the medical community can be like, well, she's a little chubby, so it might be this. She's clear. She's actually like super healthy. Like she's super great. Like that all to say. But it did really challenge me, I think, as a parent on social media. And I so resonate when you say that, like, you know, getting these opinions from the outside world. Has it ever caused you, like, I know a lot of celebrities, like, that's a hard choice, like like making that decision, but I love that you choose to integrate motherhood into it, because I think it's so important to share those things if you're willing to. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just think that, like everything in life, you just have to take the
the bad with the good.
Oh, that's
You
a
know
good
what I
point.
mean? It's like anything that you do, nothing is ever going to be perfect. And I think that the pros of me sharing what I share so outweigh the cons. Like the amount of people that I can actually touch and listen to and that can feel validated by something that I share versus the people that like disagree or disapprove is so much more that like I just constantly tell myself that, you know?
And arguably, you shared the most vulnerable thing that you've ever shared this year.
Yeah, for sure.
How
And
was, I know we touched on that a little bit earlier,
yeah.
but like your miscarriage was, that's the most vulnerable thing that you could possibly, like, I know there's a lot that could go on, but because it has in history been such a private thing, it was almost like it was filled with shame, and it was like you feel so against your own body.
Yeah.
How was it actually sharing it, and what triggered you to share it, and what has been like, has it been good and healing for you?
Yeah. So the thing about the miscarriage was I didn't have like the typical miscarriage feelings that I think probably most people have, which is like sadness and shame and just feeling like overall depressed. Like my feeling after I had the miscarriage was more of like relief.
Really?
Which was the scary thing to say. And like everything I do, I was even scared to say it to my husband when it was all going down, but I said it to him and he was like, Whitney, if you are feeling this way, I'm sure there are other people out there that have felt this way too, and it's important for you to talk about that messaging. So I think everything with the miscarriage, like I felt more guilty about how I reacted to the miscarriage. I didn't feel shameful about having the miscarriage. I didn't feel like it was my fault. I didn't feel scared about talking about it. It was more just like, oh my God, why am I feeling relief about like not being pregnant? And that was a complicated conversation, but I ended up realizing after posting it that a lot of people did feel the same, and that for a lot of people,
right way to grieve.
Right. And like, I didn't know this person, so it wasn't like I was, and I wasn't like celebrating it. I wasn't like, oh my God, yay, I'm not pregnant. It was more just like, oh my God, like I'm sort of relieved that at this really busy stage of my life, like I don't have to be pregnant anymore. And that was a really hard thing to say, but I think that a lot of people may feel that way.
You know what? Even on my podcast a few weeks ago, I talked to this woman who woke up in the middle of the night and found her husband dying. And she shares her story, and she said at one point she was like at this conference, and they were like, what if you're thinking about something that, like, I'm probably totally misquoting her, but like if you're thinking about something that, was a really powerful moment in your life, like a really good moment, like something that changed the trajectory and all this stuff. And she ran out crying because she was like, I can't believe that like the thing that I'm most thankful for is actually the death of my husband, because it wasn't that was like something she hoped for.
Right.
But it was the fact that it changed the next stage and who she was and all of these things as well. So like the fact that you had that relief is like probably, like you said, it was probably a pretty common thing. And a lot of people are probably very quiet about, again, putting that in a box, being like, I'm not allowed to have that feeling with it. I mean, there was a woman I followed on social years ago whose husband died of cancer. And a couple months later, she got remarried, and people were furious with her.
I'm sure.
And I was initially as well, because I was like, but that's not how I would do it, because that's what we do in the human experience. We apply what we think we would do,
and then we think that that's the right thing to do, and we project what we would do onto them. Exactly. But it's not fair.
But that's so unfair, because regardless, it's the victim shaming. It ends up happening because it's like you're the one who's going through a miscarriage. Regardless of how you felt, that is still a bodily thing that goes on. There's a lot of hormones involved. Yeah. It's a huge thing. It's still confusing, and you have to still go through those feelings and all the next steps. I mean, that's still a lot to go through. So it would be kind of disappointing to ever have people, be like, how could you feel that way? Did you get any of that?
No, I actually didn't get any of that,
that
which
makes
was
me so restored.
I know. It was such a relief. I was really scared. Like, it was the one thing, besides the breastfeeding videos that I put out when Sunny was little, it was like the one thing that I was the most scared to put out there. And people were really, like, the stories that came in were, I mean, we're different kinds of stories, but stories like young girls who got pregnant when they were 16 and they didn't tell anybody and they were so ashamed and they didn't want to like have the baby, they didn't feel ready, and then they had a miscarriage and they felt that relief of that they weren't pregnant anymore, and it was like this one girl told me she had never even told anybody that before. Oh. So it's those stories that really make everything that we're doing worthwhile.
I think that's so true. And it's what pushes, I think, a lot of the conversations that I've had. I think when people see people put vulnerable stuff out there, they think like, oh, you're doing this because like it's good for you. I'm like, I
because
never
it's good
want
for
to
your
do this
job. They think like, I know it's all, everyone is all about like being quote organic now and showing like the real you, and I think that a lot of people do it and you can kind of see right through it when they're just doing it just to do it, you know. And I highly advise against that. But then again, like, I don't want to judge because I don't know for sure.
I think we're in this stage of we want to be relatable. And in order to be relatable, we need to be vulnerable. But it's so hard because I think for me, when I first started sharing vulnerable stuff, it came out of a place of my own healing. And I didn't know what the response would be. I had no idea what it would be like to show the stretch marks on my stomach or to show the cellulite on my butt and to do some of these things. Like, I wasn't really part of like that movement. So it was confusing. And I had no, like, we are so trained our whole lives to be palatable and be attractive, to keep quiet about things and to not say so much. And I've never been an activist. I've never been like, I don't want to upset people. So I've gotten used to being quiet. So when I shared some of these things, it was like the first step in being like, if I knew, and I love this saying, like, once you share a secret, it loses its power. It was like this release of, I'm going to put it out there, but it has never been a good feeling. Like, even every single time I do it, I'm like, this is so hard because everything inside of me is saying that this is not palatable. This is not good. I don't know how to do this. Or that you should
feel ashamed for it.
That I should feel shame because that is what I felt for so long. So when you put it out there, you know that like it is for a greater cause.
Yes.
We don't make changes in society by being comfortable.
No.
We don't get to like go, you don't know how many people are now understanding that it's okay that they had those emotions. And that you could have been quiet and it would have been fine.
Right.
But the fact that you spoke ends up changing somebody's life, if not millions of people's lives. Like, you don't know how many times that story will be reflected upon.
Totally.
And these moments will be, you know, all of these things again. And it's the process of normalization in a lot of things in society that I find is so fascinating. My latest like little project has been to share things without saying it. Like, I can share my body and not have to make a statement about why I'm so acceptable. So today I was like standing by the pool and I was like, here's a picture of my butt. And like, I was like literally like, good morning. And I was like, it's so fun because I'm like, I don't have to make a statement about why I have worth here and why it's okay to have cellulite and why it's okay to have these like
So
things.
You just posted it on in your feed
and
then and with no caption.
I just posted good morning.
Yeah.
And I just left it like that. And I was like, but that's kind of like my new fun thing is like, I want to normalize things by just making them normal.
Yeah.
Like, if everybody else can post a normal picture and just say like that, like, imagine a day when we could talk about these gritty, raw experiences and it feels like normal conversation and not this like gritty moment of like, oh my gosh, did you hear what she said?
Right.
Wouldn't that be so cool? When you think about even the line of, you know, I think about, you know, certain people on The Bachelor and Bachelorette when the first, like in reality TV, when it first came out, people were so like, oh my gosh, they're sleeping with so many people. I'm like, but you realize that this is normal.
Totally.
And it might not be your lifestyle choice, but these are still normal things that are going on. And it's been so interesting even watching within the realm of that show that, you know, it's like a corporation now, I swear to goodness.
Yeah. I love that show though. I mean, we could talk about The Bachelor all day.
Yeah. So, like,
but yeah, I mean, it's like, of course they're sleeping with them. Like, they're on a quest to see if they want to marry somebody. Like, of course they're going to want to test their chemistry.
But it's weird, like, how, and now they have, like, Bachelor in Paradise. And I'm like, now it's, like, it's getting really normal.
Yeah.
And it's getting really normal for people to be able to own the rights to their bodies and their choices, even if that's not the choices that you had for yourself or if you live by a different moral standard. Like,
totally.
I have found that, like, through the process of, like, seeing certain things roll out even on social media or reality TV, I'm like, it just seems cool that we're living in an age where we're like, I actually can choose whatever I want. That's a weird thing that I didn't know that I could do as a child.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, very cool. Curious because you have such a heart for fashion.
I do. I go in and out.
I'm like,
Sometimes
where are you now with it?
I like don't care at all about
you
it.
came out with
And
like
then
a kids line.
so I'm actually launching a collection with Rent the Runway in April.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, so I'm doing a whole collaboration with them. I love fashion. I always am interested in it. It's important to me. I feel like it's a way for me to express myself.
Yes.
But then a lot of the times, like, I just don't care. You know,
Yeah.
like today I'm in like the weirdest outfit ever. Like I'm in my
I
husband's
know, but like somehow that's
dad
cute.
socks and weird feelers, and I haven't shaved my legs in like 2 weeks. And yeah, I just want it to be fun. Like I just want it to be comfortable and fun, and to not take it too seriously, and to not I don't want my fashion to be like so trend driven. Like I'm so sick of like everyone's wearing something, so then like everyone goes and gets it, you know? Like I can fall into that trap too, where you're like, oh, this is the it bag, and so I'm going to go get it. I'm like, no, I'm going to go find something else that I don't know. I don't like the idea of like trends in quotes. Do you get what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're
like,
saying.
I really think that everybody should just wear what makes them feel the most comfortable. And if that is trends, I get it, because like some people don't necessarily have their own sense of personal style, so it just makes them feel more confident if they're listening to whatever everybody else is wearing. And I totally get that. I mean, I'm creating a collection that I hope people will want to wear for that very reason, but I really also want people to dress themselves like really just for themselves.
Well, it's almost like a creative expression. It's like an art form, right?
Yeah.
So there's always like, and that's what I mean, like when you're dressed down, it's like, well, that's just like normal you, but when you come out and you're doing like these artistic takes on yourself, it can change all the time. I've never been one that's like ever been on a trend. I swear to God, I accidentally did it this year because I have this bad habit of sleep shopping. Like oh
my God. Like you wake up in the middle of the night and you start shopping?
Like I guess I must wake up and it's like I'm half awake and I check my phone. And I scroll Instagram and there must be ads, because I've noticed I'm always buying things that are somehow like, just to give you context, I bought a tiny miniature Japanese pink washing machine for makeup brushes.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Like,
you sound like my husband. My husband does all of his shopping on Instagram. Everything he gets is on Instagram.
I'm the most influenced person ever. But I woke up one day to a receipt in my inbox and I was like, oh, Sarah, what did you do? And I look and I was like, I bought a fuzzy pink jacket. And so then I go onto my Instagram and I look at the brand and I was like, oh, I even commented on the post being like, this is everything.
Oh my God. And you don't remember doing that?
Idea.
That's hilarious.
So this coat comes and I was like, I need to wear the shit out of this because I paid $100. And that's like a lot for me because I'm like a thrifter. I'm not like a huge
spender.
Not a huge spender.
Yeah.
So I like
because you don't want to be. You're like
no. I just think I got so used to it. Like I lived in single income, like stay at home mom, and then I got into like I was a single mom for a while as well. So a bit of out of necessity.
Yeah.
And now that I have the ability to spend on things, I'm panicked because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like
you don't know what to invest in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I've been dying to consign like a designer bag, but I'm like, I don't know what one. Because I don't know enough and I'm so scared. And that's the whole thing, like the whole trendy thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I would buy the bag,
that everybody's wearing.
Yeah. And it's going to be out in like 2 months. And
I've done that and I regret it.
Right?
I've done that. Like I got last year, I went and bought the Fendi bag that was like, it was the F's and it was all multicolors, right? And I was like, this is everything. I'm obsessed with this. I wore it for a couple months and then now it's like,
no, you don't care. But I guess that's why consignment exists.
Yes, I can go Rebag. Have you heard of that company, Rebag?
No, I haven't. Well, but there's a lot of little ones.
Yeah.
But I guess the one that I was so shocked about was Louis Vuitton. Like, who would have thought that came back? Like, holy.
Well, those bags, I feel like their monogram will never go out of style. And I feel like a Chanel bag, even though this is a really funny story about this bag, but a Chanel bag will also never go out of style. If you get like one of the classic styles.
Okay, so maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to get a Chanel bag and just live my life.
Yeah, but
I just need to make one purchase. I need to do at some point. I just want to make one purchase.
One big purchase.
I don't know what it's going to be. But when I got this pink jacket, that $100 was a lot of freaking money for me. And I wore it, and I did a post on my pink jacket, and I was like, this is my life now. I live in this pink jacket. And then all of a sudden, people were like sending me, they're like, look, all the Kardashians are wearing that pink jacket. Like, everybody's wearing it. And I was like, I am accidentally very on trend.
Wait, can I see the pink jacket?
You can see the pink jacket. It is like, it is fluffy and
excited.
Beautiful. I mean, she's a family member now, basically.
You love her.
She's a lovely human
Do your
being.
girls love fashion?
So you can see it in this pose. I went full on.
Oh my God, so cute.
You can swipe and see my whole.
Oh my God, you
like
look amazing.
I love that joke. Like that jacket's my baby. But now I'm like on this, like I can't stop with the pink. Like I just want to wear pink all the time. Like I'm wearing pink right now. But I didn't realize it would be a trend, which I think is kind of fun. Like I love when that accidentally happens.
Yes.
When you accidentally like fall in love with something. But I'm just one of those people that when I go for something, I go all the way in.
Right.
So like leopard print, I was like, yes, I love leopard print. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, I have like, I can't wear an outfit where it's like leopard shoes and a leopard watch band and a leopard jacket. I was like, you went too far. Like you need to learn a little bit.
Yeah,
fashion.
But I think it's so important for you that you're doing what just like speaks to you.
And
like you're doing it just because
validated right
now. Like
You're
loved it, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if anybody else likes it.
It's funny because I did have one friend who I was like talking to last week, and she was like, "What are you doing in LA?" And I'm like, "Actually, I'm going to like podcast with Whitney from the Hills." She's like, "You mean Whitney from Vogue?" And
oh my God, stop!
She was.
I wish it was still Whitney from Vogue. That's amazing.
She was so defensive, and she was like, "No."
That's
like,
so funny.
I'm so sorry.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm honestly, this has been so fun to have this conversation with you. It honestly is truly so life in full circle.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. I love what you're doing. Tell us, like, you've talked a little bit about the collection next.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about where we can find you, what's kind of coming up for you,
yeah.
whatever you want to share.
Okay, cool. So I have whitneyport.com, which is just like my lifestyle website, like tips and tricks and everything that I've worn and loved that week. Just like everything about me you can find on my website. My podcast with Whit comes out every Tuesday. I have amazing guests on that. Everyone from like experts in mindfulness to someone that's coming on and talking to us about birth control and the effect of that on our body. My love story with my husband, like basic Q&As with me. And then I have my YouTube channel where we're actually doing a whole relaunch of that. I Love My Baby Butt on YouTube.
Somebody told me this morning that they were addicted to that show.
So my husband and I did that together, and we put a new video out every week, and we stopped it just because we weren't like dealing with as many issues as they're so young. There's like always a new phase, always something new. So there was a lot of content to post, and then I was like, I'm actually happy and I have nothing to complain about. So like, what am I going to talk about on YouTube? Yeah. So we're relaunching YouTube and doing like, and I love my toddler butt, and then also showing just a little bit more of like some self-care stuff for moms, because I feel like us moms really need tips on that, like accessible tips, not like goop tips,
and you know what? It's so funny because I love that you say that. I feel as mothers, we're taught and we're told like it's the ultimate sacrifice, and we go so far as to not, like, this was me. I didn't even go to the bathroom without a child in the bathroom with me. Yeah. And when I started locking the door, my kids were so confused, but I was like, this is self-respect. Like, I'm respecting myself right now, and I'm giving them proper boundaries. Yeah. And it has taught me so much about like creating that divide where like they still have access to me, but like, or even just like that intentionality in the morning of like, I can get up a little bit early and have coffee by myself and do my makeup and do those things, or tell them like, I need to go do this. It's actually made me a better mom. Yeah. It really,
good
really
for
has.
You. So and do they just busy themselves while you do that?
I mean, they're all older. They don't care about me anymore. Yeah. But at the time, they pretty much stood outside the bathroom door
and waited for you.
But that was still okay. It still created that new norm of just because I'm mom doesn't mean that you're with me all the time. And just because I'm mom doesn't mean that I don't care. Yeah. And just because I'm mom doesn't mean that I don't get to go out. Yeah. Just because I'm mom doesn't mean all of these things. And I think that it's really cool. I don't know if you follow Kat and Nat, but they do like mom truths, and they really dive deep into a lot of like the realness of motherhood and stuff too.
Yeah.
And it is really refreshing. And that's kind of the thing that I really love about social media and YouTube and all of this stuff, and kind of bringing it back home is like, we have such an opportunity now to change the way people might see something or view something. They might learn like a self-care tip from you that is going to change the way that they, perform every day, or they might learn to like love a stretch mark because they went and saw my picture one day.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing, and it's really cool that we're doing it.
And having an impression on someone, even if it's just like one person a day.
Even if it's on one person
but
a day.
about that mom stuff, I totally get it. Like yesterday, I found myself having nothing to do at like 4:00 in the afternoon. It was after a doctor's appointment, and I was like, God, I could go home. And like my son was with the nanny.
Yeah.
I was like, I could go home and just like have him just want to be with me, or want me to turn on the TV for him, or like have him pine.
Yeah.
Or I could like stay out and just like walk around aimlessly. And I decided I did a little bit of both. Like I stayed out for another hour, and then I was like, okay, now I'm just wasting time. And I went home. And for a second I sort of felt guilty about it, because I was like, oh God, like I'm like hiding from my son, kind of. And then I was like, you know what? No,
it's so true. And I actually had my therapist validate this for me, because I was like, I feel like I'm doing all this stuff for work and I'm doing all this stuff, but where do I come in? And she was like, if you have 3 balls that you're juggling, it's so easy to justify work, and it's so easy to justify like family, but if you're not taking time to justify what you need to, she's like, so let me just tell you right now, that gets equal parts of the pie. You get equal parts to business, to family, to you. So she's like, whatever that needs to be, you get to do it. And I was like, oh.
Well, that makes me feel better, because I am pretty selfish and do take a lot of time for me.
But it's good. It probably makes you a better mother. It probably makes you a better businesswoman. So everybody needs to understand, my therapist tells everyone. Probably get sued for that. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. You are Whitney Port on Insta.
Yeah, Whitney Port on Insta.
And With Wit is her podcast.
Yes.
And it's so endearing. You're so easy to podcast with.
Oh my God, good.
So great.
That makes me so happy. I'm
really
sorry
excited.
I can't say into yours. I sound like crap, and my head is like this big. But
You're
for
so
you to
sick.
do mine.
We're going to do it
But
again.
we'll figure it out.
We're going to figure it out. Okay, guys. Until next week, thank you so much for tuning in.